In today's world, trade is the largest of global markets supply chains, which includes competing brands, quality standards, movement of goods across borders, business regulations, cutting-edge skills and services. All these activities match up to make a difference. What is behind the headlines? What impact does it actually have on people's daily lives? How can we develop programs that will support countries to get ahead on trade? Trade activities are getting people to act on the agenda of improving trade globally. Agencies and development partners are supporting countries in their roadmaps for change. It's building strong foundations and helping governments bridge to more support. Business Focus takes a closer look at every step involved in the aspect of trade, from identifying, buying, selling, and distribution of goods and services to various parts of the world. Find out from the people themselves what is happening in their daily trading activities and how they go through the hurdles in achieving greatness, from the fields, factories, gardens, markets, and to the consumer.
Family, welcome to Star Television, Channel 21, and this night program when it comes to you, Business Focus. The essence of the program now for bring businesses them, entities them, and other partners them, waiting the help for push the economy of the country. Well, today we are inside the Chinese embassy. Also, we talk to the deputy ambassador. We can tell me some of the things we you need for know. But Chinese investment, the bilateral relationship with Salon, and what's not the thing them where China don't do for Salon. Well, now we take a short break. When we come back, the program will continue. Okay, family, welcome again to the program. Today, we get for mix up, the English and we get for the talk small Chinese. If you study Chinese, well, no problem. The program are for you. Well, we go start the program proper. As I tell you, we deal with the Deputy Chinese Ambassador. We, he said don't play your part, and as we all know, say China and Salon don't they into friendship paddy business for over 50 years now, because the paddy business starts way back in the 1960s or 40s, where China and Salon been on the paddy business. And from that time to now, we go say Salon don't get a lot now the hands of the Chinese people. You talk about the U-Building, you talk about the National Stadium, you talk about so many other investments in the way Chinese people don't do for Salon. Well, today we did with the Deputy Ambassador, where he will come take with you. And also, as we all know, say, China, the CPC party don't celebrate them 20 years as a way they don't have power. We can know what that mean for China and what it mean for Salon. Welcome again.
Thank you.
Well, in the first place, let's know your name
Yes.
and also your position.
Yes, I'm Mr. Xiaoyong. I'm the Minister Counselor in the Embassy, and now I'm the Charter Affairs.
Okay.
Yes.
So, when you talk about the embassy in Sierra Leone, what's the business of the embassy?
Yes, our embassy is less representative of our government. Our main mission is to promote China-Sierra Leone's relationship in different fields, from the political to economic to culture to tourism, and etc. etc. So every embassy in different countries have different priorities. For us, it's the main priority is to help Sierra Leone for his development and to share more view for the developing countries in the world.
Okay. Okay, family still with we, you know, as we get to the conversation, now so we go down today. Now, let's look at the celebration of the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party, which is the CPC. You know, we noticed that it just celebrated 20th anniversary in China, and also, you know, bringing in other partners to help you celebrate this particular day.
Yes.
What does that mean for China?
Yes, because after 100 years of foundation of the party, before the 20th Congress, we have successfully realized the first centenary goal, thus to eradicate obsolete poverty. Now China has embarked in a new journey to build a strong socially modern country, so a new start.
Okay.
Yes.
So, if you can relate the celebration of the 20th anniversary to other parts of the world, or where China has influence, let's say in Sierra Leone, you know, what does the celebration mean for your partners around the world itself?
Yes. For China, will develop himself in a new phase, so aim to a higher quality of development and to promote more common prosperity and to combine better ecology with economic development, and also material and cultural resources. But we think that our way of development is peaceful development. So the development of China will continue to provide dividend for the country, for other countries, and I think we will share more experiences of our development, especially for Africa, for the good practice for poverty eradicating, and also to promote more common prosperity, because we want everybody develop in his own way for his own well-being.
Okay. Okay, celebrating 20 years. Let's look at the economic aspect, the economic powerhouse of China, how China have contributed to the growth of the economy of the world. Like smaller nations, you can relate Sierra Leone and other African countries.
Yes.
Let's look at what are some of the development where you look at China today compared to China in 40 or 50 years.
Yes.
What can you say?
Yes. After the foundation of the People's Republic of China, China was a very poor country. we can produce only very few products. Nearly everything was imported from overseas. But now we are the number 2 economy in the world. We contribute for 18.5% of the world economy. So China now it become a big engine for the world economy development. I think what we want to say is that in all this process, all the people have a strong willing under the party and the government to develop China in our own way. For example, we have in the past 10 years have successfully built a space station. We have sent more satellites in the orbit, and also we developed the quantum calculation, communication skill, etc., etc. So now China has some edge-cutting technology to explore new frontier for human science and technology.
Okay. Let's look at just, let's say, if we can mention that the mobilization, when you talk about mobilization in, let's say, that would be a keyword in the CPC
Yes.
party.
Yes.
You know, so let's just talk on that a little bit.
Yes, because now when we talk modernization, we must keep in mind that we are not talking the modernization of the invest style of the Western developed countries. Also, the development because they developed in different way in the past histories. They have different historical background. Now we're talking the Chinese way of modernization because China has a huge population, and China cannot copy other countries' example. But China will learn from other countries, but I think mainly based on China's reality to promote the modernization. So I think the most important thing is that to put the people's interest as top priority. Always keep in mind what the people is seeking, what the people's happiness as our original inspiration. You should always do that. For example, to promote more balanced development from region to region, or to reduce the revenue difference from one family to another family, to promote common prosperity for all.
Okay. Modernization is a broad term when you look at it, just as I said. You know, looking China back 40 years to now, you know, we have seen so many developments, so many things, so many changes. Yes. You look at the economy of China, you know, you can, just like you said, second in the world, contributed a lot to other developing nations and even nations that are developed.
Yes.
You know, so let's break it down for people. What are the contributions of China in improving the world itself to be a better place today?
Yes. First thing I want to say, because China has a huge population, for example, in the past decade, China has helped 100 million of people get lifted out of poverty. So it's a remarkable achievement for the entire humanity. And second, that China's way of development have provide more options for other countries to find out their own way of development. And China has developed not only economy but the service industry, IT, etc., etc. And especially China take care of other countries because China have this idea to build a shared future for all human man. For that reason, we have very good relations, strong relations with African countries, with Xiaoyong.
Okay. Okay, family is still with the program, Business Focus, and you know, we talked to the Deputy Chinese Ambassador. We all know, we talk about the Chinese people, you know, they don't do a lot. We, I believe, say, you know, everybody in the world will go testify towards that, say, you know, China, we talk about improving the lives of, especially when we talk about Africa, you know, that the first can make we Africans begin use mobile phone because they make them so affordable and so reasonable that, you know, the poor man self within a village, you were able to get a hold of a phone. As we all know, these civilizations, we can talk, say, you know, China brings civilization back to Africa and open the eyes of Africans for let them know exactly what they do. Well, we still owe the Deputy Ambassador. Welcome again. Now let's look at, you know, you just mentioned poverty elevation, you know, reducing poverty, Sierra Leone, and also other parts of the world, because we know that you are not only operating or not only having bilateral relation with Sierra Leone, you have over 90 or so countries around the world. You know, you are partner with and, you know, doing. Let's look at the poverty elevation strategy of the CPC party and that of the Chinese people.
Yes. Okay. It's a long, arduous progress for get rid of poverty. First of all, that you need a strong leadership. We worked under the strong leadership of our party, CPC, and all the in different levels of government all involved in this process. For example, the party sent the village and mobilized volunteers to village, and to not only to give them material things, but also to pep them up for have a high moral, to strongly believe in themselves. And in all this process, there were 1,800 party officers who died in this noble cause.
Okay.
So it's not an easy task. And second, that Chinese people have had this strong memory of starving, and in the ancient time. So they want to have a good, better life. They want to become autonomous, independent for themselves. And so you couldn't let yourself become always a patient. You must stand up by yourself. You must become a robust person, and you can provide the feed and everything for yourself. And I think we keep in mind also that we have huge differences from one ethnic group to another, especially in 5 autonomous provinces and the other 3 provinces who have a large number of ethnic minority, because they have more difficulties. So you should especially follow them and to convince them also to abandon some old style of living to a new style of living, and give a better future for their students. That was very successful. For example, in the Xinjiang region, the government had fight against terrorism and fundamentalism and extremism. So in 4 years, there are no terrorist attacks. So that can secure a peaceful background for the development. They have so many experiences. For example, also have children have a free and good quality education, as the government have done, and other things also pay more attention to the vulnerable people. For example, in a family, they have a patient. When you give them money, then they have a good life, but it's very easy for them to follow back to the poverty. So you should provide them a suitable social welfare system, and especially to find a job they can do for themselves, and they can become auto-sufficient.
Okay. Now we know, if you look at Africa or the world, China produced, let's say, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 40% or 50% of rice. Let's say you talk about agriculture.
Yes.
When you look at the agricultural sector,
yes,
the Chinese people produce more than half of the world itself.
Yes.
So, what do you think Sierra Leone can learn from China? You know, in the poverty reduction we are talking about.
Yes. I listened to the speech of Vice President Jallo, said that Sierra Leone has insufficient rainfall and sufficient land and cannot live continually on the import of food. I think it's very right because in past years, Sierra Leone export food instead of import.
Grain.
Yeah. For the same thing, for the China, for example, China has a huge population. It's about 1/5 of the entire world population, and China has only 19% of world's arable fields. So we developed, especially the skill for example, for the rice seed breeding, and then to multiply rice, and we depend most on the advancement of technology and the implementation of industry scale machineries. And for example, now you go some areas like Xinjiang and other provinces, you can see the farmers use a drone to control their fields, and but it's not easy because there's a harsh climates in different areas. So we need more irrigation systems and everything. But we think China is huge because China has huge population. We cannot depend on imported rice because there won't any country can feed China only himself.
Sure.
So we should try our best to do that. Yes. For example, they have this year we have a harvest, and we are busy for the feeding for the next year harvest.
So do you think Sierra Leone have learned something from China when you in the area of agriculture?
Yeah, sure, and I think it's certainly because Sierra Leone have a very good natural conditions and very fruitful land, and agriculture was always been, and it is now also the main field of cooperation between our two countries. And from many years we continue to send agriculture experts to Sierra Leone, and we provide also machineries. In time of emergency, we also provide food aids, etc. I think the most important thing that also to adapt Chinese experiments in Sierra Leone, because you cannot only transplant some successfully Chinese seed in Sierra Leone, because the Western African condition is also different. So we want to involve more Chinese researchers to work in field in Sierra Leone and to cooperate shoulder by shoulder with Sierra Leone farmers.
Okay. Okay, Famul is still with the program, Business Focus, and we did talk lengthily on the Chinese investment into Sierra Leone, the CPC, as they don't get their 20th anniversary, where the party don't in existence, where they don't in a power, and also witness some of the stuff, the things where they don't do around the world. Let me take a short break, and we will come back and continue the program. Okay, Fabu, welcome again to the program Business Focus. And, we still live with the Deputy Ambassador of China, we in a salon. And, we talk lengthily on the progress of China around the world, especially inside salon and the bilateral relation. And also we talk about the 20th Congress, where the CPC party, we don't get, and as we all know, so every 5 years that they get the Congress, and this is now the 20th anniversary, or I would say the Congress where they don't get recently, where the President, Xi Jinping, be able to get people them across the world, where they be able to go that particular Congress. That show you how China be the powerful, and also the thing where China they do for bring the world together. Well, we still with the Deputy Ambassador. Welcome again. Let's look at, there is another question here for you. Say, what would this be, the 20th CPC National Congress, the impact, this will have on the Sierra Leone China Corporation?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think the China-Sierra Leone Corporation is a good picture of the China-African Corporation because we have very good relationship with African countries. First of all, we have very good relationship between the leadership. So under the leadership, we have reached many consensus. So for example, for us now is our diplomatic priority to implement the outcome for the 18th China-African forums outcomes, so that 18th FOCAC meetings. Okay. And then specifically in Sierra Leone, our two presidents have meet together, they have phone conversations and they exchange letters, so they keep frequent contacts to exchange their ideas to keep the strategic guidelines for our cooperation. And also at ministry levels, we have many contacts. I think that China is very take care of the good relations with Sierra Leone, because we always support each other, not only in easy time but also for difficult times. We remain always grateful for Sierra Leone when Sierra Leone co-sponsor the return of China in the UN General Assembly. And so in the past decades, China has continued to help Sierra Leone, for example, to build the national stadium and the stadium in Bo and other projects like bridges and roads. Now we are in a new, we are entering a new phase. So many old projects should be redone, refurbished, and we are also continue to provide more new help. For example, the building of Foreign Service Academy and the Wilberforce barricades, etc. But now we think it's very important not only to provide the infrastructure building for Sierra Leone, but also for more capacity building for human resources. For example, for develop more softwares for Sierra Leone, because Sierra Leone has talented people, very excellent students. So, for example, last year we provide 131 scholarships for Sierra Leone. Now, nearly 100 students already in China. We are happy for that.
Okay, that brings us to our next discussion. When you talk about the bilateral relationship between your country, China, and that of Sierra Leone, let's look at these areas: trade, infrastructure, education, health, and sanitation, and also the impact China has created on the GDP of the country, Sierra Leone.
Yes. I want to mention the trade because Sierra Leone have huge resources, not only for mining, for fishery, but also for other agricultural products. I think that Sierra Leone need to gain more foreign currencies. So all the Sierra Leone products are very much welcome in China. So China will continue to make favorable customer arrangement with Xiaoyong for reduce the customer duty for import Sierra Leone products. And in the tourism, I think there's a huge potential, and we do hope that with the recovery of the tourism, there will come not only the tourism from Europe but also from Asia, from China, and because it's a very good business for Sierra Leone. And for the sanitation, for example, we provided many batches of vaccines, and for mobile clinic has really good impact for the society, and millions of million people received first time in their life some physical exams, and we with our medical team, with our CDC team, we work together with Sierra Leone for treatment of malaria and other tropical disease. But we have done many things. I think in the future there are so many things we can do together.
Okay, you look at education. You just talk about having 100 Sierra Leonean students in China and not sending more of them.
Yes. Yesterday I visited the port. I see that there are some Sierra Leone seamen. They have studied also engineering in China. So we can understand there are huge demands of different disciplines that Sierra Leone people need to develop the country, for develop their own career. So China is open for everything, every branch of science. Normally we provide a list of universities with all the majors and all the faculties, not only for bachelor degree but also master for PhD for Sierra Leone. So we are open for study, and the only thing that in the past years that pandemic have stopped this physical contact with people. Now we are happy that things are resumed to normality. Yes, so we do hope that there will be more students, not only students but also government officials from different fields to come in China, and we do hope also there will be not only long-term students but also short-term exchanges for the vocational schools, and also for develop some skills for women's and graduation.
Okay. Now, let's look at another area, the GDP. We know Sierra Leone, China has a lot of investment in Sierra Leone. You know, like you look at the road construction, you look at in the field of the fishery and marine, you look at medical, so much.
Yes.
Let's look at what are these entities contributing to the GDP of the country.
Yes. For example, I read the data that in the mining sector, Sierra Leone has doubled its export, and also in the fishery sector, Sierra Leone have a good gain in the past years. China's industry is evolved all in these sectors, and so we normally Chinese people invest and build the infrastructures. And for example, one Chinese company in mining sector could employ 800 local people. Yes, and I want to mention also the build of internet communication. For example, Chinese company help to Sierra Leone to build all the we call that backbone network for the main. It's like a data highway for these countries. Now we are entering the different phase. We should bring the internet service to more remote areas with the feasible cost. So I think it is very, very important, because nowadays if you cannot get access of internet, your life is different. You are disadvantaged. So it's
you are cut off from the world, the rest of the world.
Yes. For example, if you have access to the internet, you can sell your products in the whole world. So I think this is the future, and because Sierra Leone, the development, I think also Sierra Leone development can skip some phases in developing countries to make a leap out to higher level.
Okay. Okay, finally, let's look at celebrating 50 years of bilateral relation,
Yes,
friendship,
yes.
brotherhood, sisterhood with Sierra Leone. What does that mean for the two countries, especially China?
Yes. Last year, we have a very good memory to celebrate together with Sierra Leonean brothers and sisters for the half century of diplomatic relations. And I think that in the celebration, we find out there are so many similarities, not only the background, but also the feeling of community, with family, and we share so many values for development, for peace, for justice, for democracy, for freedom. So I think that we work together in past half century is auspicious for good future for our next generations. So it's not only we want to write history, but we want to open a new chapter of history in front of us. And I think that our cooperation is mutual beneficial and mutual satisfactional, and we have been always wise to handle to guide our cooperation, also to handle some differences, because we have different mentality, but we always respect each other. We always try to understand each other. So I think we work in good synergy. I think we will do a better job because thanks for the past experiences.
Okay, let's look at the way forward between the two countries. What are the way forward?
I think that together with Sierra Leone, together with African countries, together with also Asian and Latin American countries, you now see that the world is changing. I want to say that you look at the World Cup, it's a good example. The world is changing. You see more African teams, you see more Asian teams and beat European teams, and so it's also back in the background of the development of the developing countries, and so also now in many international affairs, the developing country has more voices, more influences. That means we will have more justice for the international community. That means that we will have more opportunity of development, because in the past centuries, especially in the colonial time, the poor country was very much exploited by rich countries. So that means that poor countries become poorer and rich countries become richer. Now you see that there's so many problems created by this process, with climate change, with energy cost, etc., etc. So is that we should promote together a more reasonable, more fair world order. I think this is beneficial for all the developing countries, and also you see we should also to work together to develop our own way of development, because nobody could be your teacher. You from your teacher study some things, but you digest the knowledge, you develop your own way of development. So it's like that. We always like to repeat that. We think it's always good to let African people handle the African issues in African way. So it's but we will work together with you and to listen what African countries want and what we can do together and what is good to do together. So I think our future is very much promising for many fields. For example, with the Better Road Initiative, with the Global Peace, Global Development Initiative, and the Global Security Initiatives, there are so many things we share together. There are so many things we can do together. I think we need a strong stronger relationship. We need to put our the hearts of our people to beat together. Yes, that people-to-people exchanges contribute very much to provide a solid foundation for the political trust. We have already good foundations, but we could further enhance our cooperations.
What will be your projection for China in the next 5 or 10 years?
Yes, okay. It's China's development process have different phases of goals. So the most important goal, the long-term goal, is to obtain the regeneration of the nation, and then the Chinese modernization. Chinese modernization is divided also in 2 phases. So we are always humble to try step by step, small, what we can do. So the next phase is towards the year 2035. We will build a socialist country, and it's then after that is towards the middle of this century to a strong socialist country, then to national regeneration. The strong point in China is that when the government decide to do one thing, we will do it from generation to generation, because we have the blueprint done. We will keep that blueprint. We will
work towards it.
Yeah, never save our efforts to struggle to obtain that goal.
That's for true. Finally,
yes.
When you go back to China, what will be your memory of being in Sierra Leone, working with Sierra Leoneans, and
Well, I'm here for almost 2 years. I think it's too early for me to say that I return to China with my memory. I look forward for next 2 years to work in Sierra Leone continually, and maybe again and again, because I love this country, and I think that everybody who lives Sierra Leone feels that it's very touched, bound with these experiences, and many people want to return to Sierra Leone, especially for his people, especially for his land, and also for his food. I enjoy also some typical Sierra Leone food, and also the.
Which one have you tasted?
I take the fishes, chicken, and cassava leaves, and different types. Only start. I should enter. I should taste more and know more. And some food is very spicy, but it's good. It's delicious.
What about the Creole?
No sabi talking Creole. I'm a learn Creole, and I think it's always good to learn the culture to understand more. I think Creole is a very beautiful language, because I found some English elements, but also Spanish elements and different
French.
language, and French, and this is a common culture for Western African countries. But it's also interesting for me to find out that, for example, the language spoken by Manding and Timili, it's a shared language with other peoples in Guinea, in Burkina Faso, in Mali.
Yeah.
So it's so rich. This land is rich of history, rich of culture. We should learn more.
Okay. Now you can look into the camera as we are going and say 1 or 2 words to other Chinese people out there, and also to assure the Sierra Leonean people about China's commitment towards the bilateral regulation.
Yes. I want to say to our audience that China and Sierra Leone have a strong brotherhood and sisterhood, and we feel always like a family. So I like very much working in Sierra Leone. I feel very comfortable, like family members, and I think this is a very hospitable country, and all the Chinese investment is welcome here, and also we welcome Sierra Leone friends to visit China. We want to create also more opportunity to realize more people-to-people contacts. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, and I'm happy to for you to be part of the program today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Fambul, that's now the Deputy Chinese Ambassador. You don't need to be inside the program today. You know, I say plenty thank you to him, and plenty thank you to his team. Mr. Unwe, he able for put this together for we able for can do this interview, and also to the other man, Joe, we himself done they part of this production today. We don't can do this interview. Well, the cameraman will be Regina Norman, the producers and Yesi Aloe and Leone Jawara. The executive producer, now Mr. Philip Neville Sr., the proprietor of Star Television, and to all staff of the Media One Center. Miracle the program, Mina George Elliott Sam, they say Tata, bye bye, stay out of trouble, and always do the good thing. We go make salon go before.